a structure unlike anything ever seen.
I've never seen a swim center like this kind of translucent water kinds of qualities. It's really an innovative building. At night, it could be spectacular.
It's amazing, yes. It will make another city wonderland.
As far as I know, the building is unique in that nobody has explored this direction yet, other than us.
The fantastic building works in theory, but now the team has to make it a reality. And that means analyzing 22,000 beams in a virtual construction zone.
Every single beam needs to be tested for every single load that nature can throw at it. That's wind, earthquake, snow.
Because its roof is so wide, the swim center steel frame has to be as light as possible, but without sacrificing any strength. And each of its thousands of beams must depend on all the other beams around it.
So you can't just change one member because there's this effect going through the building.
It changes the surrounding
everything
members as well. So everything's related to everything else.
The team faces the seemingly impossible task of analyzing 57 million design constraints. There's only one way: cutting-edge computer power.
Without the computers, it would be...
Couldn't have done it.
It would be
Impossible.
a never-ending task.
Yeah, we'd still be doing it when we were retiring.
With massive computer power, the engineers succeed in modeling a building that's incredibly strong and remarkably light. And name it the water cube.
A good little analogy for how strong it is if we put the building on its side, tipped it up, it would happily stay in that position.
But the water cube must also be a model of environmental engineering. In its bid to win the Games, China has promised a Green Olympics.
With the Green Olympics, they promise to be more energy efficient, more water efficient, more environmentally aware.
So the water cube will be more than just a stunning facade. It will also be a gigantic greenhouse that captures sunlight to make its own energy.
We are using solar energy directly coming through the skin of the building to heat the swimming pools and the air inside.
The water cube's skin will be 6,000 air-filled bubbles made from a futuristic material called ETFE. Lighter and stronger than glass, and letting in more sunlight. In fact, the water cube's so efficient at trapping the sun's heat that it creates another problem. How do you cool it down during the hot summer months?
If you've got a building that lets more energy in than leaves, that building has potential to overheat.
Fortunately, these bubbles aren't just filled with air. They're smart bubbles. A foil mechanism inside deflects heat.
In summer, we can ventilate that heat out of the building. It's called a vented cavity. In winter, on the other hand, we allow that energy to radiate into the space. What we're trying to do is actually balance the amount of energy coming in and the amount of energy leaving.
Energy efficiency solves one environmental challenge, but in water-starved Beijing, how can a swim center with 6 gigantic pools call itself environmentally friendly?
You've got a swimming pool that wastes a fair bit of water. In China, water-conscious design is a very high priority.
The water cube takes advantage of a built-in solution.
The building is it's 185 metres long by 185 metres long, so it's got this massive roof on it. All the rainwater that falls on the side is collected into a central storage point underneath the building. It reuses all the water that falls on its roof to top up the swimming pool.
The water cube proved itself a friend of the environment. But would China find it a worthy companion to the spectacular new bird's nest?
We were part-way through the design competition when we saw the winner of the competition for the stadium. That actually galvanized the whole design team to bring together lots of disparate ideas to complement the stadium.
But the water cube bird's nest combo gets rave reviews.
The stadium is red and curvaceous and feminine, and the water cube is blue and square and masculine. It's designed to last 100 years, and there's no reason that I can see why it shouldn't last 200, 300 or even 500 years. Perhaps trying to outlive the Great Wall of China is over-ambitious, but one can hope at least to compete to some extent.
The water cube's on track for completion by the 2008 Olympics. But another eye-popping Olympic venue has not been so lucky. The Wukesong Cultural and Sports Center, which will be the Olympic basketball arena, and the world's biggest television set, completely covered with LED panels.
That idea was to allow people that can't go into the stadium because of the price or because of the capacity, they will always have the possibility of seeing through this screen, which is on the facade, what is happening inside the stadium.
But this will only happen if the Wukesong's built according to plan. And that's a pretty big if. Swiss architects Burkhardt and Partners designed it. But will the Wukesong prove too fantastic to become reality?
The technology doesn't exist today, but has to be developed.
Its architects believe technology will make the Wukesong possible in time for the Olympics.
Of course, it's a big challenge, but it's feasible.
The Wukesong's innovations will have to be more than skin deep. The massive structures will be nearly the size of a city block. So its architects have placed 12 giant shafts throughout the structure. They bring natural light from the roof to the arena below. But the greatest threat to the Wukesong hasn't been a lack of technology or innovation. In 2004, China decides it's spending too much money on the Olympics and cuts construction budgets.
They had to redo the costs for all the projects.
And ours was one of these projects affected by this reduction of budget.
The Wukesong loses a whopping 40% of its budget.
If you talk about 40%, it's a margin that you can't just do with reducing the surfaces.
A smaller building will mean smaller TV screens.
You know, if the building would be reduced in height, that would have a major impact. On this vast space, it becomes kind of insignificant.
Any massive project in China seems to go through a similar pattern. Grandeur to begin, a bit of reality sets in once the budget numbers roll past, a shift in public opinion again, construction, and then wild praise.
No one knows if the Wukesong will ever be built as its architects envisioned. But as the first of Beijing's Olympic wonders battles challenges and budget cuts, experts wonder what will happen to another design, a structure so original and so extreme, it defies imagination. China's counting on cutting-edge architecture to dazzle the world during the 2008 Olympics. But the road has been rocky for these mega projects. They've struggled with whopping price tags and enormous engineering challenges. And now, China Central Television, known as CCTV, is erecting the most astonishing building of them all. A mind-bending